Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So I am here joined by Elizabeth today, who is an incredible writer. I have looked at her collective stories, which are collective darkness, collective chaos. There's a lot of mixed stuff, mixed genre. So it's really cool. I had a brief read of some of it. It's awesome stuff. You guys should check it out. I will include it in my links. And yeah, she is a author. She's a podcaster. She is a yogi, and she is into cosplay. So it's incredible having someone who's doing so many different things. So that's awesome, and welcome to my channel, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I wear lots of hats.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. And yeah, let's begin by talking about how did you get into writing? What inspired you to get into writing?
Well, I've always been a writer ever since I was little. I was in kindergarten, so I was like 5 or 6 or something. And I remember they were making it must have been at the very end of the year, but I remember making a sentence. It was probably a really simple sentence. And I was like writing a picture or something. I can't even remember exactly, but I was like, this is so fun. I should do this. And so I have like a whole just like collection of my young things. And then in elementary school, I think when I was 10 or 11, the library wanted other students to donate if they had any books, to put it in the library, and they took mine, and I was really happy. So, yeah, I've just
Cool.
always been a writer. But
Awesome. And yeah, you write in so many different genres. So let's start with horror, I guess. How did you get
yeah.
into horror as a genre? Because
So,
we all love horror,
yeah,
even though a lot of people um, might not. Yeah, a lot of people might not say that they love horror, but everyone loves horror. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
true. Everyone loves horror. No, I love horror. I am. In fact, it's honestly probably next to like just normal day-to-day stories where it's like, your character goes on like an adventure or something. That was the other genre that I always wrote. And I don't know if that tells you something about me, but like when I was 10, the book that got taken by the library was a horror story. It was the magic book. And so there was an evil and a good side to this book. And you had to like figure out with spells, like what was going to be going to curse you or not. So horror has always been like a central focus. And as I found it easier to write like novellas or short stories with horror, but I've always had more of a struggle. Like I've always had writer's block with doing like a full novel with like a whole horror. So what I ended up doing, because I kept just like being like, hey, why can't I get past a certain point? And I found out that I really like doing dystopians for novels, and like just the ideas just flow, like dystopians and apocalyptic stories, like all of that horror, but like also adventure, like and like just all of that, like that genre as a novel. And then like, yeah, so that's kind of how I did horror. And I guess we kind of talked a little bit about dystopian too, but yeah.
yeah. And I guess the reason I said people don't always admit they like horror is because when you think of horror, you think of movies like Saw and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and people don't really want to. I don't know. Well, yeah, there are some people who will, yeah, there's a big fan base for Saw and stuff, but your horror is different. It's not about all that gory cutting stuff.
Yeah.
It's right,
It's
right,
psychological. I think,
right.
yeah, I think that's the I mean, I like Saw 1 a lot more than Saw 3, but it's like that psychological, right? It's like that question. And I think that psychological horror, or like asking questions that really sit with you, I guess that's kind of psychological, but it's the things that really sit with you is that's the best way to produce like a horror novel or story, because you can't really do a lot of jump scares in a story. It's just not going to land the same as if it was in like a movie compared to a book. But yeah, and so yeah, so psychological is just and I also like write horror poetry sometimes, and it always gets very psychological.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I did watch the last one, the last Saw movie, the Book of. Um,
Oh, I did not see the last one.
right. Yeah. But it was, I went and watched it. I've seen movies like Hostel and horror,
Oh yeah.
French
Actually,
horror.
well, I watched Hostel right before going to Europe my first time.
Right.
Because I was like, let's scare me. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with me. And because I stayed in hostels, so I wanted to,
Right.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and with regards to I guess dystopian stuff, everyone I guess for me it was starting with, because I had no idea about the genre until I somehow found 1984,
Oh
and that
yeah.
sort of made me look into that genre. So, um, what was your experience with dystopian stuff? Did you have a 1984 moment, or was it something completely different? Uh,
Well, I mean, I really love 1984. That's one of my top favorites. Like, not even just in dystopian, but in just like the books in general. Like, that's an amazing book. And but I think what really got me into dystopian, what made me like go, oh hey, I can do something dystopian. It would probably not have been a book. It was actually a game. It would probably have been I mean, because Resident Evil is horror, but it's also like a dystopian because zombies, if you want to like think about that, and also Bioshock. So like a lot of video games, like I love like the horror dystopian video game, and and from there it's just like, oh, I can do this myself, and it's just so I for some reason I love just like worlds crumbling or have already crumbled.
yeah, it's quite a that's what makes it, because it was like a shocking thing for me to imagine Orwell writing about a society like that, and had never experienced anything like that. And I thought, wow, that's someone someone smarter than me, George Orwell, thinks that this can happen. So maybe it can. And um,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, well, with any book, I believe that, fiction or nonfiction, I think that there's always truth within the text. And I think with dystopians, and science fictions too, but it's like, it's this critique on society. And honestly, like, so, I've been staying in the UK and I love it. It's great. But they also have cameras everywhere. And I'm like, oh, George Orwell, you probably saw these. And now you're constantly watched because in the US, like, yes, we have, cameras in stores and we have cameras on our phones, right? Like, technically, we're all tracked because of our phone, right? But like, there is this level of, I don't know, intrusion when you see this camera just like on the street. But like, what's interesting is that a lot of people who I've talked to here actually prefer the cameras because they're like, oh, wherever the cameras are, people aren't doing as many illegal activities. And so I think that could be true, but I also wonder if it's kind of like the same thing where it's like, oh well, the government can look at my emails because I'm not doing anything wrong. Like I only people who want privacy are doing illegal things. Like, no, it's like you should be allowed to have privacy. But anyway, sorry, that got really political.
no, it's all good. That's great stuff. That's great stuff, because
Yeah.
I know some people that come from, I won't say which culture or which country, but they have that mindset that if we are being watched, it's for a good reason.
Yeah.
um, and we shouldn't go on the internet and talk about certain things because it's not good, or things like that. And yeah, I was it's funny because one time, some few months back, I was convinced that I was being my emails were being read and things. and it's so such a crazy mindset to be in. And then I had to rationalize and think, well, hold on, nothing crazy is happening. But yeah, it's I guess for some people it's a real thing that they are being watched, and it's kind of paranoia that comes
Yeah.
with that. Uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That, and then that's one of the I like playing on those ideas a lot, the government control. And it's just because, you know, it is true having cameras up does stop certain activities. But it's kind of like this thing, you know, it's called the foot in the door phenomenon, where it's like, well, you know, you put one thing here, you know, it's just like, or it's like, you know, just one thing just becomes another thing and it just gets bigger. I think actually that's I forget what it's called. Maybe it is the foot in the door. But anyway, it's just like, what line do you draw? Like eventually, you know, the cameras are fine, but now we have cameras in our, like, what if we get cameras in our home? What if, like, there's this thing, I was just listening to the news recently. There's this whole thing where companies, I don't know if this is in any other country, but in the US, companies are considering, because of stay at home, they've been, you know, recording on people's cameras, like watching their work or seeing how many places they log in on their computer. But the thing is like, what if they have like someone behind them, like a family member who's naked, or like, or just like in general, just like you're invading their privacy, like, and so like, and that's just like one step after, you know, the cameras in the street. So after having the cameras on our computers, like what's the next thing? Anyway, so that's why I like dystopians a lot, because it's like that horror-esque, that like that disturbing fear, but also it's like this critique on like like this is what's going to happen when you let this thing just run wild. It's yeah, it
yeah,
just, so
yeah. It is true. And in terms of you mentioned your studies in the UK. Yeah,
mhm.
is it okay if I ask what you are
Yeah,
studying at the moment?
yeah, I'm getting a master's in creative writing.
Oh, wow.
um yeah, so and honestly, yeah, so it's just funny, my workload, I have to do like 1,500 to 2,000 words a week
Oh,
to
wow.
write, which is kind of interesting. But so it's like mostly it's well, one of them, like, which is the like more like 1,000 to 1,100 words, um, is on a book that I'm going to write. And so I started a new book, and it's going to be like this dystopian type book, and I think it's really fun. But and then I'm also doing one on my grandpa, like a biography, which is very different than dystopian. It's just his life. But
Right, right.
he actually lived in Swansea, and went to school here, so that's one of the reasons I'm here. But
Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Cool.
And in terms of the food and everything, because I have some friends that are in the UK for some time, and yeah, there's a lot of yeah, New Zealand and UK food, like fish and chips, for example. You know,
Yeah.
it's quite always there. And what else is there in UK to try out in terms of food? And is there something that you would recommend? And uh,
Yeah. So I'm still trying to figure everything out. But um, so far, I really like the Indian food. It's really good. But I'm also I really like Indian food, and then also uh wow, yeah, a lot of the food that, okay, yeah, no, Indian food, and then I could suggest like some restaurants if you guys wanted. And then also avocado toast. We have that in the States too, but I love, you know, it's like they make it fancy and it's fun. And then and also in the UK, which you guys also get this, the US is weird, but like, you know, your eggs are like harder and like you don't have to have them in the fridge, which I think is super weird. Because in the US we clean our eggs so
oh,
much that it like takes away the shell. So we have to put them in the fridge,
right,
or they
right.
go bad. Yeah. And then like the milk here is just even like the milk and the cheese, which is probably the same with yours, but like the milk and the cheese here, even just like the just like the normal, just like whatever brand is still better than the normal, like whatever brand in the US. Like you can get good cheese and milk in the US. It just tends to cost more. So it's just interesting, like I'm like, oh, I could just pay, you know, £2 and get this really good cheese, or you know, so I guess like it would depend on the size anyway, but it's just kind of fun. But and breads, yeah. So yeah, I've just been like trying out things, but oh,
Right.
and meat pies.
Yes, of course, meat pies. There, funny story. There's a in the South Island of New Zealand. There's a possum pie,
What?
uh, which is I think, yeah, it's yeah, you can get possum made into a pie
Oh
because
my.
possums are pests and they're getting rid of it, so they may as well make it into a pie and eat it. And
Okay, is it good? I would totally eat it. I'm gonna try everything, even if it's weird and gross
yeah,
looking.
yeah, absolutely. Because my yeah, one of my friends, he tried alligator meat
Oh
in
yeah, I've tried
in
alligator.
how is it? Is it
Yeah, it's like fishy chicken.
okay.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
fine.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because all these animals that actually taste like chicken or something that
Yeah.
we're so used to, and that's so crazy. And in terms of I guess in terms of food and things like that, um, when you talk about food, you also, there's like fitness and things like that that
Yeah.
come with food. And I see that you're really into yoga and things.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, you could have chosen CrossFit, or I don't know what else is there or something, but you chose the most peaceful. I think it's peaceful. I've never tried yoga. Most peaceful form of exercise.
There are peaceful forms of exercise. Yoga definitely is called Yin, and I do that every week with my mom and my friend when they're in Utah, and we like Zoom, and we do that, which is nice because meditation. It's definitely really good for meditation. But when I'm not with them, I also do like a peaceful form, like it's like, but it's power yoga, so it's more exercise. And then I do like hot yoga. But I also like indoor cycling. And so I've been trying to find an indoor cycling place. It just doesn't seem like that big of a thing here, which is maybe because everyone's going outside. But I like doing it indoor because like in indoor cycling classes in the US, maybe you guys have this in your area, I'm not sure, but it'll be like a club. So you like go in, you find your bike in the darkness, and then like you have to put on earplugs because the music is way too loud, and you don't want to ruin your ears. And then you have to like, you go with it, like it's like a class, but then there's like a part where you start exercising with your arms, and like you have to like pedal at the same time.
Right.
It's really fun. So I'm on the hunt for something like that here, but I do like, so I like doing both. That's a long story short. I like doing intensive stuff, and also peaceful, but I really do like the peaceful stuff because I have such an active life and active mind, that doing something where it forces you to just like stay in like a position that's kind of uncomfortable, really, really helps your mental well-being. And like I traveled here alone. Like I live in a dorm. I mean, I don't have a room. Like I don't. My room is my room, right? Like I don't share the room, but I shared like the building with people. So I have a community here, but it's like I mean, anyone who's like traveled somewhere else alone, like it's there is like this level of isolation for a little while, and like if you don't really know it, like you don't know where to go or like what to do, it can like affect you mentally. And so having yoga really has like helped me a lot.
Right,
But,
right. Yeah, it's so cool doing some form of exercise because um, I during the lockdown I started running, but my
oh,
knees
nice.
yeah, my knees just couldn't injured my knee, so I couldn't continue with the running because I wasn't warming up properly. I was just, it's like, yeah, just start running. I've never run in my life, but let's just start running. And so yeah, but yeah,
You should
so
do cycling. Instead of that's easier on the knees, and you can still get the same aerobic.
right. Wow, yeah. So it's so cool. So cool to talk about different types of exercises and things, and meditation,
Mm.
particularly because um, so I guess anything can be a form of meditation, or
Right. Yeah, especially with like yoga. So yoga, this is so I used to be a yoga teacher, so I'm going to put on my yoga teacher hat. But yoga is like there are different levels of it. It's not actually just the practice. And in fact, if you are practicing yoga, or if you're doing the stretches and your mind is not there and you are not meditating, you're technically just doing like, stretches. You're not doing yoga. Because yoga is all about the mind, the body. It's all about putting it in together, because it's a moving meditation. And so I believe there are 8 different types of yoga. And, if you look it up, it's like, oh, it's been so long since I've talked about it, but essentially it's like there's a lot of meditation, like eating properly. Like there's just all these different things that form a yoga practice. But
yeah, and my grandpa was really into yoga. He
nice.
still, I think he does a little bit of yoga as much as he can, and um, he tried teaching me when I was like a little guy, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard. It needs a lot of
Mhm.
dedication, lots of hard work, because you're doing all
Yeah.
kinds of stretches and things like that, uh, and maybe that's why, yeah, that's why people are so drawn to it, because it's something that's quite, it's something quite hard to master and get on um, top of. Um, and how does the so I understand that you're also into traveling. So to me that makes, okay, so I understand you're writing, yoga, everything. How does
Yeah.
cosplay fit in?
Oh yeah. Well, I want like, just it's like dressing up for fun, right? That's like a big part of it. Because I am also a big nerd at heart. I also love video games and board games and stuff. But I think one of the reasons why I like doing it on my Instagram is that I want to make reading fun. Like the thing is I'm a huge reader. I think reading is fun. I could read like the driest book. Like I read history of Western medicine for fun. Like I can read boring things and find it fun. But I think some people think reading isn't always fun, or it's they like reading has this like, the same thing with vegetables. People maybe they've never even tried something that they really would like, because people who hate Brussels sprouts think all vegetables taste like Brussels sprouts, but maybe they really love carrots and they never knew. So my idea is like make reading get your attention, and then do it with different genres, different colors, different videos, so that maybe hopefully you'll get excited and go, oh, maybe I should just try this. Because a lot of books that I've reviewed too have been collections of stories, or they've been novellas, like really short, easy things to just read really quickly, so then you can be like, you can just get a taste of it. But that's like the main thing is like, having fun and also grabbing your attention, because reading is fun. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. Reading is very fun, and I didn't personally. I yeah, I was enjoyed reading, but
Mhm.
when I think it was Fight Club
Oh
that
yeah,
really
it's
really
good.
blew my mind, and I was like, I've never thought about anything the way that
Yeah.
Chuck has shown in his novel, and I was like, wow, like you can really inspire and change people's perspective by writing. And yeah, and you I'm assuming you've seen Fight Club and read the
Oh yeah,
novel.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love the book. I think and the movie's great too. It's that, and that's the thing is like, yes, there are. Look, I love the book community, but there are some really bad books out there, and those books can kind of, and sometimes they're classic books or they're indie book. Like it doesn't matter what they are. Like there are just some bad books for some people, and that can like ruin reading for some people because reading those books can actually literally cause you pain. But like there are those gems, and the like Fight Club or 1984 or Fahrenheit 451, or let's see, couldn't bring all my books, so I had to like, or it's like, so there are like all these, just like you can find a book that's so good. And I actually just read The Midnight Library, which I was surprisingly, I actually really liked. I was surprised how much I liked it. But it's just like, yeah, you'll find those things that you like, and because once you find a really good book, it's so satisfying to just read and finish it. But
yeah, it is. It is. I remember reading. I read because I read Fight Club, and then I was like, I want to read every one of his novels, and
yes,
I tried reading some. I couldn't because he gets quite,
he
yeah,
gets weird.
yeah. So I
He gets
couldn't finish
weird.
some of them.
Yeah, he's hit or miss for me too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And he I read one of his I think it was the Rand, the oral history of something, and
Yeah.
it started off as like something else, and then it became something else by the end. So I was literally sitting in the train back home, uh, going, wow. And I'm sure people around me were like, what the fuck is he doing? And
Yeah.
so yeah, that book really blew my mind. That book really blew my mind. And Midnight Library, what is that about? I have no idea what that is about.
Well, it's definitely not for everyone. It goes off the premise of like multiple lives, in that sense.
Right.
Um, but I think the writing is just so easy to fall into. It's so easy to just like take that book, pick it up and put it down and just like get right back into what you like right in the midst of things as well. And I think the character, she has a lot of depth. It's a main a female character, and it kind of goes off of like what's regrets, like what you should regret. Should is life worth like regretting? That kind of thing. So really liked it. It's a new book, and it's by Matt Haig, Haig. I don't know if I said his last name right. It might be Hog. But and it's a quick read as well. I think it was only like, I don't know, like 200 or 300 pages or something like that. But I would recommend it. I liked it, but yeah, it might not be for everyone.
Yeah, I'll definitely give it a try. And I know that collective your collective
Oh yeah,
books are on Audible. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna as soon as my credit recharges, I'm going to get the Collective Darkness and read it. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, I read the sample on Amazon, and I really liked it because there's a sense of so many people coming together and
Yeah,
producing this work. So I really, yeah, to me that's amazing when people just come together and produce, a great piece of
yeah,
fiction. And I yeah, definitely read it. And
yeah. It was great. I loved it.
uh, yeah, and this Collective Darkness, Collective Dystopia. What were the other ones? I'll just have let's see if I can find them. But there was some
Yeah,
others. Well,
yeah. So there's so the most recent one we have out is actually Deluxe Darkness, which
right.
encompasses three different anthologies. So there's in that one there's Collective Darkness, Little Darkness, and the Darkness Between. So and that's Little Darkness and Collective Darkness have been kind of just out, but Darkness Between is a newer book, and so we just wanted to like update it, send it out, give it a new feel, and then the one that's coming out in December is Collective Fantasy, and that one is going to also have an Audible, like that. We're actually working with some narrators right now, which I think that collection is going to be so good. I'm super excited.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
forward.
Yeah, and then after that, we'll have Collective Visions, which is a sci-fi one, and then Collective Chaos, which is a dystopian.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Awesome. And the writers are from all over the planet, or they're all from UK, or
Well, yeah, so so in the beginning, Collective Darkness, when we first started, it was very much a pet project, and it started with just me, and then my partner from Collective Darkness, just working partner. We created, this business, and then but Collective Darkness, because of how it started, it was mostly just local people. So we only had Utah local authors, and then in the other ones we started to branch out. So now um, we've had people from the UK, I believe Australia, New Zealand, or I'd have to check on that, and then France. I know someone's from the Middle East. I can't remember where exactly. But yeah, it's because the thing is like, if you're a good writer, we don't, like, I think it's important to just get your word, like your name out there. And we want as many people, and we want to be as inclusive as possible. So yeah, if you have a good story, like, and sometimes if English isn't their first language, sometimes the story isn't like there, like structurally. And so we're happy to help if they're like willing to work on it with us and stuff. But there still has to be that level of professional and like writing ability that makes it so they can still get it published and stuff. But yeah, we love taking time with writers. But
that's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So guys, if you are writing and you want to submit something, please go ahead. I will include all the links. So send your stuff in, and it's a great team. And yeah, just put it forward and let's see what
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
Yeah, great team, great people. And I guess what I'm curious to know is because there's a lot of cosplaying and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like cosplay parties and stuff where everyone just comes in, as their character, and then you just?
Oh my goodness, that we have not done that, but that sounds amazing. And now I need
Right.
to do this.
I know my friend's a photographer.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of photo shoots and stuff. So his niche is like the cosplay people, and they
Oh,
they walk around central Auckland dressed as
cool.
manga characters or fairies or whatever they're into,
Yeah.
and he's like taking pictures. And yeah, so it seems like a really fun thing.
Yeah.
And
Well, because I get back into the US in the summer, so maybe then. So I'll let you know. Come over.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool because people spend, the level of details that people go into.
Yeah.
Because I watch Comic-Con and all these things, and people come in dressed up as someone dresses up as Thanos and just walks in, and it's like, wow, it actually looks like Thanos. And
I know.
so it's really cool. It's really cool stuff.
I know I'm definitely not at that level. Like I want to one day be that good, but like some of them, they hard put me to shame. Like they are so.
It's probably their full-time thing.
Oh yeah, no, it would have to be like you. I would love, like, when I have some more time. That's like some of the like I want to take cosplay classes, because like there's things about makeup and like doing wigs, because I attempted a wig once and it didn't work out. But like wigs aren't that hard. Like, but like and like sewing clothes, like I'm proficient at sewing. I'm not that good. But it would be so cool. Like, yeah, there are some people that have like, yeah, those skills. They are so enviable. I'm like, man, that is a hobby I'll do when I'm 40 or something.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of Thanos and stuff, I'm assuming you're an MCU fan as well, or you don't like MCU. Great. That's I've watched all I think I wasn't into it at the beginning. I wasn't really into MCU, but then I watched something, I think it was Doctor Strange or something.
Oh, I really like Doctor Strange.
And
Yeah.
and then I watched all of the MCU films and stuff, and yeah, and it's pretty cool. It's really cool stuff. Is there anything there is Spider-Man coming out this year, right? Or I can't remember if it's this year or next year or
I would have to check that. Yeah, I think it might be next year. Maybe it's this year. Maybe it would be this year actually, because people are starting to things are
yeah.
kind of getting back to normal. I mean, I'm not saying that everything's going to get back to normal soon, but because you don't want to like knock on wood with the COVID and stuff. But yeah, so I don't know if it is. But
Yeah, and I guess with dystopia and stuff, I imagine you've watched all the Matrix films, and there's a fourth
yes.
one.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, See, I've been kind of out of the loop with like the updates on things just because of traveling and school and stuff. But yes, I really love Matrix. That's like something. So it was that like I watched all of those with my dad when I was little. Those and Lord of the Rings. But yeah, the Matrix is I really enjoy that. That's I like that aspect a lot. That idea. I don't think we live in a matrix, but it's possible.
Yeah. There's enough people that believe in stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matrix is really cool, and I don't know. I mean, I guess you have a busy day today, so I'm not sure how much more time you have for this. So I guess I'll just ask maybe one or two questions. Uh, with regards to uh, writing and stuff, what is your advice for people? Seeing as you're doing a literature masters and things like that, what is your advice to people to help them, put their art on paper and be taken seriously? Because I've had someone I sent a piece of writing to said they thought it was laughable and they said it was this or that. So do you think that grammar is, I mean, we all understand grammar, but do you think that being crazily detailed about grammar is something that everyone should do? Or I don't know.
Well, so it really depends on what you want to have happen to that work, be it an illustration or a written story. Because I think that if you just want to share it with the world, it shouldn't matter what it looks like as long as you're okay with people looking at this raw thing. If you wanted to get published, or if you need help on certain things, like I've been on like writing groups where they are kind of mean. I know what you're talking about, like where it's like you'll put something up, you'll ask for help, and then people are a little mean, where it's like these supposed to be these support groups. Not everyone's like that, and you can find good groups. But I have seen it before. I'm like, wow. But what I would suggest is, if you are able to, there are websites. Like if you don't have money for an editor, and you know that maybe your grammar isn't that great, there are websites that you can get it on for free, or get on or to pay to check that grammar, just so then you don't really have to worry about people. And if you want to get it published, it is very difficult to have, like, you have to have the grammar good for that. You can also do like critique groups, and critique groups usually are a lot nicer, because they're also putting their pride and joy out to be critiqued. So it's like this, kind of a back and forth, like you both are doing it. So there's going to be a level of maybe something nicer, and people can kind of catch those things for you. So I would say it just depends on what your purpose is for your work, for what you're trying to do. But yeah, I think grammar, it can be very important for certain things. But if you're like missing a comma here and there, or like you didn't indent or something. Like, I think it's not that big of a deal. But if you want to get it published and you want to take it to an agent, it needs to be as polished as possible.
Right, right. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's something I didn't, I had no idea because I've been sending my stuff out, anywhere I
Yeah.
can find something, submitted, and but it's a crazy thing. I still don't know why they take, because a lot of websites say that it will take 8 weeks to come back to you, or uh,
Yeah.
3 months or 4 months. Do you think it's because they have such a big pile of submissions, or?
Yep. No, it's exactly that. They're overloaded with submissions sometimes. And which that can be good, because that means that that agent is big enough to where they matter, and that they will make, if they choose your story, they're going to make a difference. You don't, I mean, it's good to have, it can be good to help out an agent who's starting out, but it's like with any newbie, there's more risk involved, right? But yeah, what I would suggest, if you want to take it to, if you want to go and like, you want to query it, you want to submit it to things, there are classes. Is everything okay?
Sorry, can you hear
Yeah.
me? I think the audio, audio just cut out. Speakers. Okay. So sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Oh, you can? Okay, cool. Okay, let's see. So if you want to query, if you want to submit it to things, there are websites that, and there are classes you can take. I've done presentations on how to query, how to pitch. There are things like, unfortunately, it is like an art sometimes, but you can get a lot of people to help you. That's one thing, is you never, like, even if you don't feel like you're a good enough writer, there are people, there are communities that will help you to make you a better writer, or make you gain that confidence. Maybe you are a great writer and you just don't have that confidence, right? And again, like, there are websites to help with like grammar. Like Grammarly is a really good one. Writing Pro Writing Aid is a really good one. There's those two cost money, but they're really good if you are able to pay for them. Pro Writing Aid works with Scrivener, which is nice. And then Grammarly, it's its own thing. And I mean, you can work on docs and stuff, but I think it works best on its own app because sometimes it's glitchy. Word has its own grammar. I mean, it's not always perfect, but it is something, it will catch certain things sometimes. And then there's this other one that's free. And if you are interested, I can find it and send it over to you. But essentially, it's you would put it in the website itself. There's an option to pay for it, to download the program, so you can do it there. And you can use a free version of Grammarly, but I'll find that for you if you are interested. But yeah, so there are lots of things and a lot of communities. So yeah, definitely take those, take that advantage, right? Yeah. So if you're a romance writer, or people, as someone who wants to learn more about romance, I have a critique. We have critique sessions, and so those can always be good too for any of your viewers as well. But
yeah.
it's online. Nice.
Yeah, look, I really appreciate that, and I'm sure the people who will be watching this interview will appreciate your input as well. So it'll help out a lot of people. So it's great. It was great talking to you, and I imagine you have a very busy schedule. But look, thank you so much. Thank you so much for making time.
Of course, I really appreciate this. Thank you for taking time today as well.
No worries. It's all good. It's all good. And yes, I'll include all the links below, and so people can go to the various places where your works are, and wherever you are providing educational stuff, I can include that as well.
Okay.
And, yeah. So it'll be really cool. And so. Your studies are, if you don't mind me asking, how many years have you got left? You're still in the middle part or the
Very beginning. Very beginning.
Okay, well, yeah, all the best with your studies and things, and
Thank you.
I'm sure place like London you find plenty of inspiration because it's such a beautiful place. So
Yeah.
thank you for connecting with us. I really appreciate it. And if you get time again, or if you feel like it, you're more than welcome to come back to the channel.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, so thank you for being with us. And have a it's daytimes there, so have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you. You have a lovely night.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.